Bottas gets into the lead by turn 1.
Qualifying finished, it's time to remind ourselves once again of our top 3. Tiger, Verstappen and Charles Leclerc. Goodbye for now then, but really we're just getting started. Make sure to join us again for Lights Out tomorrow. You can hear the Australian fans roaring as they line the track here in Albert Park. Welcome to Melbourne, and the roar from the crowd can only mean one thing. It's race day. Here we are then at the Albert Park circuit, 3.28 miles of bumpy city streets, but not a lot in the way of elevation changes. The circuit goes all the way around the lake, taking in 14 corners. Note the DRS zones into turns 1, 3 and 13, and they'll offer our drivers a number of good opportunities to overtake. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Tiger lines up on pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Sainz, George Russell and Hamilton, Perez, Bottas, Tsunoda and Lando Norris, Fernando Alonso, Magnussen, Pierre Gasly and Mick Schumacher, Ricciardo, Vettel, Alex Albon and Lance Stroll, Joe and Nicholas Latifi. It's almost time for those 5 red lights to go out then. Let's see who can prevail today. Natalie Pinkham joins me once again in the commentary box. It's fantastic to have you with us today. I'm curious though, how do you think the drivers stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn one, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It'll keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
After the points finished last race, let's aim to keep that momentum going. Fastest lap of the race. Keep this up. Well done. final lap of the race. Fantastic drive, that's just fantastic, amazing, you deserve that race win, well done mate.
It wasn't always plain sailing today, but it was a very important win nonetheless. Natalie Pinkham, how do you think they were able to set themselves apart today?
Well, this was a real team victory. They put together a solid strategy today that appeared well suited to the conditions out on track. The driver did everything that was expected of them in the moment to really execute the team's plan to perfection. A shining example of how F1 really is a team sport.
Here come today's winning drivers, and what a race this was. This is a team that knows success very well in F1, and they're just itching for even more. Congratulations to the Alpine team for their excellent win today. And after this round of the World Championship, here's how things look in the Drivers' table. Tiger takes over the lead of the Drivers' Championship. So then, Natalie Pinkham, who would you rank as your driver of the day?
I have to give it to Tiger. They demonstrated a very delicate touch in close proximity to other cars, as well as showing a lot of maturity and patience in difficult situations.
Let's move on to the constructors. It was a tough race for our championship leaders, who lose ground at the top of the table. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.
You're not currently in a rivalry. Sooner or later, you'll probably be asked by the media who you consider to be your rival. Think carefully who you select, as while you will receive acclaim for beating them, you'll lose acclaim if you fail to do so.
With qualifying complete, let's review our top three today. Verstappen, Leclerc and Sergio Perez. With qualifying wrapped up now, we have our grid lineup for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race. Forget pit stops, forget fuel management. It's pedal to the metal all the way here as we get ready for today's sprint. let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Russell, Tiger, and Hamilton.
Okay, we've held position on lap 1. That's not great, but it's not terrible. Stay focused. DRS is being enabled this lap. You can use DRS when you're within 1 second of the car ahead and in the DRS zone. Pick up rubber and bring it home.
And now let's take a look at the driver's standings. Our championship leader is still sat at the top of the standings, but their rivals have made up some solid ground today. It's time to see how things are shaping up in the Constructors' Championship. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Another team that excelled today were Williams, who make further progress up the table. With the sprint wrapped up, we now have our grid line up for the big race tomorrow. Be sure to join us then for what will no doubt be a fantastic race. Welcome once again to the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari. The clue's in the name. This is very much Ferrari home turf, and the locals will be out in force today to support their team in what we hope will be a magnificent spectacle of motorsport. On then to the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix. One lap of Imola, anti-clockwise of course, unlike most Formula One circuits, will take our drivers around 3.1 miles of track. 19 turns, 9 right-handers and 10 to the left. Drivers will need to be precise at the hairpin at turn 7, given the subsequent uphill section. Without a good exit from that corner, they'll lose a lot of time on that stretch. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Perez, Tiger, and Sir Lewis Hamilton, and Sainz, Bottas, Magnussen, Gasly, and Daniel Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Norris, Fernando Alonso, and Russell. They'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Vettel, Mick Schumacher, Nicholas Latifi, and Lance Stroll, Albon, and Guan Yu Zhou. Which of these talented drivers will come out on top today? Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box, and it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the rundown into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down. DRS now available. Okay, this is your final lap of the race. Gap to your teammate behind is 14.1 seconds. Take care of the car on the way in.
Victory for the team from Milton Keynes then, after a quality performance. And talk to me, what do you think it was that sealed the win for them?
I think it was clear what the main contributing factor out on track was: speed. I know it sounds like an awfully reductive statement, but fast cars win races, and we saw that today with our winner.
The drivers are en route to the podium as we speak. What a fantastic win for the... So then, it's time to see how this result affects the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen now leads the Drivers' Championship. Now, let's discuss Ant. Who would you say is a contender for Driver of the Day?
There's a few contenders, but George Russell definitely stood out, I think. A really solid drive from him today, and one I'm sure the fans enjoyed.
It's time to check out the Constructors' standings. And pulling further ahead in the standings, it's Red Bull. Meanwhile, good work from Aston Martin this weekend, who pushed themselves further up the order. Well, that was certainly an exciting weekend of Formula One. Be sure to join us for more exciting Formula One action very soon.
Wait all night till the sun was up.